Oh boy. So, I was going to do some comedy sketch bit kind of thing because I was going to do that, and I'm just going to have to say pass on this time for two separate reasons. Number one, I am kicking a cold that has been honestly kicking my ass for about 2 weeks, coming up on 2 weeks, I'd say. So I'm a little sick. But also, I just learned at the day of recording this that a dear friend of the family kind of passed away in a very tragic accident. So, no comedy bit for this. But I am still going to persevere and record this video because if death has taught me anything, it's that the only thing that can defeat death is the perseverance of the living. So, let's do it. And honestly, it's kind of interesting because the topic that I had chosen and wrote a whole script for is a situation where the worst case scenario of your son getting kidnapped actually ends up coming out good for everybody involved. And the friend of the family who died, it was the most mundane thing. They were out fishing and then they drowned. And it's it's kind of crazy. Oh, like I said, I'm sick. Sorry. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, right? Where it's a mundane thing that, no one should have died from, and people died, and then this whole thing that is a terrible situation, and everyone kind of turned out for the better. So, I don't know. I feel like it's an interesting turn of fate. But without further ado, let's get into it. Without further ado, welcome back to the Dragon's Tongue, where I be sick, so the video's gonna hopefully be a little short, so, sue me, bitch! Frank Sinatra was many things. He was a singer and songwriter. He was a fleeting lover at times, he had several wives and stuff. And he was also a person with possible mafia connections. I would say that they're more possible, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to say possible. But most of all, above all of those things, he was a loving father, I'd say. He had 3 kids, all of which regarded him as a devoted father to them. When the great Sinatra died, he reportedly was buried with a bottle of whiskey, cigarettes, a lighter, and 10 dimes in his pocket. That last article of memorabilia is he kept regarding an incident that happened to his second child, Frank Sinatra Jr. In 1963, a young man named Barry Keenan, in a movement to fix his very broken life, hatched a plan. Barry was 23, broke as all hell, and trying to fight a losing war against an addiction to painkillers. This had been just a simple matter of life for him since surviving a terrible car accident. Hoping to try and make money quick, Barry hatched somewhat of a ransom scheme in which he would kidnap the then 19-year-old Frank Sinatra Jr. Barry had gone to school with Nancy Sinatra, obviously one of the siblings, and some of his friends of friends were in show business, and Barry got the impression that Frank Sinatra Sr. typically got his way. He got whatever he wanted, which, is good for in situations like this where you kidnap his son and ask for money. It wasn't all vicious, though. Barry actually wanted to supposedly invest the money to help him and his family. Better yet, once he was in better standing and he actually wasn't broke and fighting an addiction, he was going to pay back all of the money that he was going to get from Frank Sinatra Jr. back to Frank Sinatra Sr. Of course, Barry never got to prove that he was that good-willed, because shit went wrong, in a way. Barry needed at least a couple accomplices. He couldn't do this on his own, so he enlisted the help of his school friend of the same age, Joe Amsler, and his his mother's ex-boyfriend of age 42, John Irwin, which is just so funny to me. It's like, I would have kidnapped this guy, and it's like, your mother's ex-boyfriend is like, sure, I'll help you. Yeah, that's almost like a good stepdad. Yeah, it's almost like that. Kind of? I don't know. Is that a good stepdad? I feel like that's better than a bad stepdad. He's kind of helping you out, but at the same time, what he's helping you out with is a crime, so it's kind of... Oh, it's a double-edged stepdad. Double-edged stepdad. Before the actual abduction, there was 3 attempts made to try and abduct Sinatra Jr. And one of the attempts, actually, which is kind of interesting, is the assassination of Kennedy was one thing that prevented them from abducting Frank Sinatra Jr., which I do believe I just said they wanted to assassinate him, but I meant abducted, which is just so cool to me, because it's like, it proves... When looking at history, it's kind of easy to be like, oh, this was an isolated incident. But this happened in 1963, the year of Kennedy's assassination, and that these two things actually kind of coincide with each other in just even the minorest of ways tell me that this was a world once upon a time, which is about history, especially history quite far back. It's easy to be like, oh, when I was a kid, this was the thing and this was the thing. But when you're looking at history that far back, it's kind of easy to be like, it didn't happen. Right, it's fiction, like a movie. Exactly. And this actually did happen, and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of interesting to me that those two things kind of coincide with each other. But nonetheless, because of these last 3 attempts being somewhat foiled, State Line, Nevada was the decided place of the abduction. This was because after Sinatra Jr. Attended a concert at the Haraz Club Lodge. Haraz? Hurrah. Hurrah! Hurrah! Dying. Yeah, Harrah. Haraz. Okay, it's Nevada, who cares? After attending a concert at this club, Junior was going to go to Europe. So they had to get the show on the road, or else they would miss all chance they had of abducting the young Sinatra. So on December 8th of 63, Barry and Joe went to the Haraz Club Lodge and pretended to be making some obscure delivery to the room where Sinatra Jr. was. After being let into the room where Junior and his trumpet player, John Foss, were apparently eating chicken, after being let in, Barry produced a gun and started making threats. The whole thing was kind of a mess, according to Barry Keenan, the guy who was perpetrating the abduction right then, because he was very nervous and he kept repeating his lines like, oh, give me all your money, give me all your money, give me all your money. He even states like he sounded like a stuck record, which I find kind of interesting, considering, yeah, it's just a kid who's a drug addict that's just like, I don't want to hurt anybody, I just want the money. But anyways, they rob the 2 guys right there, not getting much, and then they tie up Foss, blindfold Sinatra Jr., and take Jr. down to the car, where they basically, they drive off with him. The trumpet player, John Foss, he had managed to undo himself from the bounds that he was in and alerted the authorities right then and there. But amazingly, in the car, Barry and Joe and Frank Sinatra Jr. as their captive, they managed to make it past all the roadblocks and find that they got to a little quiet suburb where they were going to hold Frank Sinatra Jr. Frank Sinatra Jr., though, was an absolute fucking G, because not only did he refuse to give in to fear, but he also refused to give them his dad's phone number, because they were like, we need to be able to call your dad for the ransom. And Junior was like, I ain't giving you shit. And he was giving them lip even at times, because he was like, I'm not afraid of you guys. Screw you. You're a bunch of dumbass, pussy-ass bitches. Probably didn't say that. It's the 1960s. But I'm sure that he was like, it's inspiring to me that he was just like, I don't care. Because it's like, I'm sure, terrifying situation. Well, I'm sure also, too, that he could sense that they were inexperienced. That's true, too. I wonder if, a part of me, though, does wonder if he was like, my dad's gonna get the mafia on your ass and you're gonna go disappear. Maybe. Like, that's a possibility, right? That's a possibility. Never know. They got a hold of Frank Sinatra Sr. anyways, and through the FBI, not the mafia, they asked for $240,000 in ransom, which, according to the article I read, is equivalent of $2.4 million in today's money. That's a lot of cash. That's a lot. Like, I see it in movies sometimes, in older flicks, where they get, like, the suitcase of cash, which they literally get a suitcase of cash in this, which is kind of funny. But they get, like, the suitcase of cash, and I'm like, that's really not a lot of money, right? But back in the day, it was a lot of money. Right. Exactly. It's just all about time period. Yeah, exactly. Back in the day, it was equivalent to millions of dollars, where we're like, oh, that's not a lot of money. It was a lot of money back in the day. Frank Senior Sinatra here, he was told that the only way to communicate with the robbers, or the kidnappers, or whatever you want to call them, was through payphones. And in 1963, you could use dimes to pay payphones. So Frank till his son was back, which didn't take too long, but he carried 10 dimes in his pocket, which comes back to when he was buried. He was buried with 10 dimes. It was just a habit that he got into because of this incident, which is kind of sweet, but also, like, you can, that just goes to show that even though this kidnapping went relatively well, it still very much affected the old Sinatra, to where he was probably, it's his only son. He's got 3 children, Nancy, Frank Sinatra Jr., and Christina? Yeah, Tina. And to me, that's just, it shows how much it actually affected him, even if he wasn't held for very long, even if everybody turned out okay, it still very much affected old Sinatra, which is, it's kind of sad, like to think that, he was in that bad a mental state at the time. I would be too, I'm not saying that, but, like, 19-year-old son here, getting kidnapped and everything, and like, horrible situation and all that, but to still carry the 10 dimes in his pocket till the day he died, and was even buried with the 10 dimes in his pocket, just goes to show how much the kidnapping had actually affected him. So, on December 10th, John told Sinatra Sr. to put the money with the demanded price in between 2 school buses for the drop-off point. Frank Sinatra complied the very next day, and the money was dropped off. However, this is where things go a little awry, because while Barry and Joe the 2 kids go to pick up the money, John Irwin is sitting there with Sinatra Sr., or Jr., and he begins to get the jitters, which to me is very funny, because he's kind of been leading this whole thing. This is the guy who's 42 years old, stepdad, step-boyfriend, like the boyfriend of the ex-boyfriend to the mom of one of these kids. Yeah, and you're the one that gets the jitters. Yeah, because when I first read about this or had heard about it, I was like, oh, like, one of the kids probably let him go. Because it's like, oh, one of the kids. Like, they're getting anxious. Like, you're holding a human being hostage. It's not as fun as it seems in the movies and stuff, right? But no, it's the 42-year-old man that's just like, oh no, I don't know if I can take this. And in light of this, he lets Junior go. Frank Sinatra Jr. wanders around for a while, trying to get his bearings and trying to find somebody to tell about the situation, considering he was in kind of a completely unknown part of town. And he finds a security guard and tells the security guard, and it's kind of funny, but apparently the security guard puts Junior in his trunk to avoid the press, but he takes Junior straight to his mother, Nancy's house. While all the Sinatras are in glee because Junior is home and he's safe and he's unharmed, the kidnappers are also celebrating because they've got $2.4 million. Like, it's not obviously that much, but it's not much to them. Exactly. The excitement would not last long, though, as after they've celebrated for a little bit, John, again, the fucking 42-year-old man, Jesus Christ, can't hold it together. He tells his brother, and his brother is just like, what the fuck? And immediately informs the police, arresting John, Joe, and Barry. In 1964, a trial was held against the three men, and again, it's just so funny to me. Joe and Barry are given 75 to life. Like, they're given 75 years plus life in prison, while John is just given 75 years. It's like, really? Yeah. Excuse me. Is it just because John's the older of the group? Or I would think that'd make him more liable, but exactly. I'm like, what? You're giving the two kids, again, 23 at the time of this, 24 now because it's a new year. But young kids are in their mid-20s, 75 to prison life, which I'm not saying, like, they didn't do anything wrong or anything. In fact, like, I wish, when I heard that they got 75, even if they didn't get life, I was like, that's steep charges for kidnapping somebody and then letting them go and getting money out of it. I mean, yeah. I mean, it might be the fame, too. Yeah, famous people who get kidnapped. Usually there's more of a, oh my god, hang them, right? Yeah. But to me, I'm just like, really? Two kids that are in their mid-20s get 75 and life, while the old 42-year-old man who is, excuse me, who is arguably in a more competent and, like, mature mental state, he only gets 75 years. He doesn't get life. That's just crazy to me. But anyways, it doesn't even matter because eventually, after they do go through some evaluation of the crime, what happened, the mental state, and everything that happened, and some appeals were made, they went for far less time. Joe and John got 3.5 years, and Barry got 4.5 years, which I can't say, like, for Barry, because he's the one that plotted the whole thing. I can see him having a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. I just don't understand why John doesn't get a steeper sentence, because it's like, you're a fully capable man. Like, you're good. Yeah. This is where things get interesting, though, and a funny twist of fate, because apparently, after Barry Keenan got out, he went into real estate and ended up making millions of dollars. He became a millionaire. A former kidnapper became a millionaire. And because of this, how much money he made, he actually began to rub shoulders with people of Frank Sinatra Jr.'s caliber. And according to the article I read, they even did come in contact a couple times, but they did not talk to each other. They didn't speak to each other. They were just like, pass by. I would want to too. Yeah, no kidding. It's like, hello, kidnapper. Remember that time you kidnapped me? That was weird. I just find that such a funny twist of fate, because it's like, oh yeah, no. We're on the same level now, apparently. Yeah, when you met me before, I was a drug addict, and now I'm a millionaire drug addict. It actually never said if he got, like, rehabilitated or anything like that. I hope he did. I hope he's living good now. Yeah. Still a shit thing that he did, but he was gonna pay it back. Okay? Jeez. So, the end. That is the end of the story. I know, right? You're thinking, that's the end? Well, yeah, that's the end. So, literally, it was a down-on-his-luck kid who decided to get his buddies together, kidnap Frank Sinatra Jr., get some money out of him, and then they did that, and it all went to kablooey, because John Irwin fucking opened his goddamn trap. I know, right? I'd be so mad. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, dude? You let go our captor before we even get back with the money to, be like, okay, you don't even know if we got the money. Like, they ended up getting the money, but at the same time, I'd be mad, like, you don't even know if we got the money. Like, what if there was nothing in the suitcase? Right? Right. Like, sometimes they go like that. And then he also goes and he tells his goddamn brother, and his brother's the one that gets them kidnapped. Like, what? Come on, dude. Come on. But anyways, that's the story of the time Frank Sinatra Jr. was kidnapped. Glad he made it out of it okay. I feel bad for all the Sinatras involved, especially Junior. Even though he kept up a good face, it's still, like, scary being, like, kidnapped and everything. And unfortunately, it seems like that's kind of what he was known for back in the day. So he was trying to chase his father's career in a way. He was trying to be a singer and everything. And he was on his way to that. And then this happened. And then everyone just was like, oh, you're that kid that got kidnapped. Like, you're one of the Sinatra kids that got kidnapped, right? Right. Like, that's all he's known for. Yeah, that's all he's kind of famous for. So, kind of sucks to be him, for sure. But my notes are, very strange story. That's kind of what I'm talking about, is that it's just kind of a weird story of a ransom demand that went right, I guess, but also went wrong in that they went to prison. They did go to prison for it. They didn't get away with it. But at the same time, the guy who orchestrated it ended up becoming a millionaire. So it's like everyone kind of got out okay, I guess. And I feel like 3 years in prison is a fair enough sentence for a kidnapping where you didn't harm them. Like, I didn't read anything in the article that I read that they had beat him up, that they had, every article I read, they literally stated that Frank Sinatra Jr. walked away completely unharmed. So they didn't hurt the guy, they didn't do anything. They just wanted the money, and of course, according to Barry, which this is coming from Barry Keenan, so who fucking knows. But according to Barry, he was even going to give the money back. He just needed to help his family, help himself, get off of drugs and all that. And then for it all to go so well, and then suddenly drop off and go wrong, they go to prison, and then Barry becomes a millionaire. So it's kind of like, whoa, it's a very strange story. It's a very strange story. Oh, sorry. She's sick, which means I'm sick too. Yep. You got it, bitch. You thought you could escape. I think we all wish we could escape to a better way. What are you talking about? I don't know. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Anyways, how quick it all happened was weird too. That's something I put in my notes, how it was just like, again, if you were listening, paying attention, the dates are literally on the 10th, they go to kidnap him. On the 11th, they're like, okay, give us the money. The very next day, they get the cash, and then Junior's released, and it happens within like 4 days. Yeah. It's not a long thing. So it's just kind of funny how it all happened so quick. And also, I've just got to say it, I love how life works, where that twist at the end where Barry becomes a millionaire and ends up rubbing shoulders with people of Frank Sinatra Jr.'s caliber, and even them coming in contact with each other on occasion. Very funny to me, where it's like, that's just life. Yeah, maybe sometimes you get kidnapped, and occasionally that kidnapper you'll meet them again one day. Yeah, kind of a scary thought, actually. But yeah, you will sometimes end up meeting them one day. So, because I was sick and all of that shit, I don't got anything new for the treasure segment of this for this time. I didn't get anything new. I've been in bed, this cold has been just knocking me around like an abusive husband. Like, it is just crazy. Usually I recover better than this, but this also, I got this from my brother, from his employees at Applebee's, which it's like, great, everybody at Applebee's is gonna be sick now. But I got this from him, and it is one heck of a cold. Yeah, it's terrible. So I didn't get to go to town and buy anything new for my treasure trove, but I thought might as well show you something from my treasure trove. Again, this is not new, but these are some things that are there in my treasure trove, and that is, I just spilled it on the ground, my collection of rings that I have. So I'm just going to show you. It's not a humongous collection of rings, but you can see right there, this is all a bunch of rings that I have that go in this chest. I love this chest because it's got like a cross on it, and it's got velvet on the inside of it. But yeah, these are awesome rings. All of these are just, some of these are cheaper than the others, but some of them are, again, I got a lot of this from my grandma, who had been collecting jewelry for a long time. And let me just show you a couple of my favorites here. Yeah, that's about it, I think. So, four of my favorites. These three, I think, I got from my grandma's collection. This one I got from my grandma on my mom's side, and I love this one because it is let's see, I don't know if I can get that to focus at all, but it is essentially, just get a little closer to you guys. It is essentially a ring with a hummingbird on it. It's got a hummingbird on it, and it's just the cutest little thing. It's so huge. It's a huge ring. Like, look how big this dang ring is compared to my finger, but it's got a tiny little hummingbird on it and a little green emerald on it that he is drinking from. I think it's really cool. I love birds, so. And then there's also this one, which this one's just pretty for the sake of being pretty. Look at that rock, dude. Again, the gold. I love the gold. And this one I also got from my grandma on my dad's side, is a shoe nail. I think it's one of the nails that they put into the hooves of horses. I do believe that's what this is. And it's just a curled around ring. It's pretty cool, actually. It's just, I like this because, again, like I said in my past two, weight means a lot to me. And with this one, it actually feels weighty because it is actually a piece of metal. Very cool piece right there. And my favorite, this one, which this doesn't look like much, but this one I got from a little store. It's kind of complicated. I got it from like a thrift store. But this ring right here, I like this ring because it has such a big stone on it, even though this is clearly plastic. But this ring reminds me so much of the ring from Crimson Peak. And Crimson Peak is one of my favorite movies, like, of all time. And so I really like this ring. It's just really cool looking, the incestuous siblings and their heirloom from their mom. That's what that reminds me of. And I, again, love that movie. It's just, maybe that, what I had just said previously might have turned some people off to it. Or turned some people onto it. I don't know. God. You never know with people, you know? But yeah, that was my ring collection. That was 4 of my favorites out of, again, a whole dang chest of them. Look at them. Ooh. Whole bunch of rings in here. But this is where, like, most of my rings go, and it is filling up rather quickly with me going, like, every week and trying to buy treasure for my treasure card. So this is definitely going to grow, and I'm not going to be able to keep them in this little box anymore, but I'll be able to find a different box for them. So that has been my segment for this week. I know it is a bit of a shorter video. It's going on 30 minutes now. But thank you so much for watching. I apologize for the nasally voice and me being sick and the coughing that you might have heard. But I am so out of it right now. I am so out of it. Not only because of the cold, but also because, like I said at the beginning, lost some friends here recently. So it's kind of gloomy. It's a gloomy day too right now. But anyways, either way, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this interesting. And just know that sometimes life is, I don't know what to tell you, a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. Very funny at times, very dark at times, very ironic at times. You just never know what's going to happen. Forrest Gump said it best. We know life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Never a truer fucking phrase been said, dude. Forrest Gump is a masterclass in the psychology of life. Sure. I was trying to be deep, but only I can be deep. Okay, only I can be deep. I'm the deep one. I go deep. Okay. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later, hopefully in the next video, and I'll be better. Peace.